This is probably the most important thing that I've changed recently in my routine, in my life, to get me to like lock in. And when I say lock in, I mean truly get the most output out of my day.
Morning, good morning. It is bright and early. I know it's not bright, it's basically dark out, but
all right, 12:39. So we kind of got carried away with a bunch of programs and just kind of got carried away with work. But we got our pre-workout meal, which is going to be some oatmeal. This way. That's gonna be the oatmeal. We have our coffee that Mason brought. We're getting some work done here, and then we're gonna get a workout in. Okay, so we got some squats today. I don't want to be here whatsoever, but we have to get it done. Last week for a few days since I was camping, it was like a camp retreat thing. We played a lot of volleyball, a ton of volleyball every day for a few hours. So I'm kind of cooked. My shoulder hurts and my hip still hurts. Later in the week before I leave to a Florida trip, I want to go I want to do a really heavy squat pause squat because those are fun and it's like not as heavy. So I'm able to get my legs to keep healing while still squatting and having fun. So I'm going to try to set myself up for that. Just get a little bit of salt before your workout or during your workout. You're going to feel a lot better. You're going to retain a little bit more water when you're training. Thank me later. 485 pounds for a set of 5. And then we're going to do a couple back down sets with only 375. Just because most people are, honestly, they overtrain. And with how crazy my life is right now, the worst thing you can do is overtrain, hurt yourself, hate coming here. But today, this week, I'm going to train a little lighter today. We're going to go a little heavier at the end of the week. So. Come on. 2 more. This is like a little physique update. I'll show y'all. 235 pounds. Last week, I had the craziest upper body pump and like the chest was literally just bulging out. Arms were bulging out, but today just a little pressing and a little leg work so you can see kind of what I look like without like an insane pump. Like lighting is pretty good here, but I don't have like God tier pumps right now. It's looking a little flat, to be honest. I didn't eat much today outside of that oatmeal and coffee. So basically fasted physique. It's not bad. Not a lot of glycogen in my body. But some goals that I have, I want to squat 675, deadlift 800, and bench 405 at 231 pounds, which would actually give me a dot score basically the same, if not higher, than what my best total was at 112, 115 kg. No, I wasn't even 115. It was like 112 kgs, 247 pounds. So it's fun. I don't know. I like being chiseled. I like having a jawline. I like having abs, and I like being strong. So this is really what I want to chill out for a while the quad heals. And for those interested in where the pain is, all my pain is right here. It's right here in this connection, right into my quad. So every time I get into a squat or sumo deadlift, right here is where I feel a lot of that pain. So got to get better, got to get stronger, got to get over this injury, and then we can worry about maybe getting bigger, competing again after that. All right, guys, so this is my go-to either like breakfast meal, but when I say breakfast, I fast in the morning. So this is like my 11 o'clock meal. But I'll put 1 or 2 links of these kielbasa's in. 4 to 6 eggs, depending on if I actually have enough eggs today. I only have 4 because I'm running out. I gotta go buy more. And a slice or 2 of cheese. So if you do the count here, 4 eggs is 24 grams of protein plus 24, which is 48, including the kielbasa. 48 plus 10 grams from 2 slices of cheese. That's 58. And I'm gonna pair that with probably a glass of milk. So now we're at 70 grams of protein for this meal. It's about 940 calories, including the big glass of milk. But 70 grams of protein, I throw a little bit of Red Hot on there. It's a lot of protein. There's a decent amount of fat as well from the kielbasa strips, from the olive oil. So, I don't know, to some, maybe it's not lean enough. For me, I'm hitting my calorie goals, I'm hitting my protein goals. And if I have too many carbs, I get mental fog when I'm working, when I'm on calls. And with this, I'm not.
Welcome back to another Vent Talk. All right, so this one is stupid important. I would say that this is probably the most important thing that I've changed recently in my routine, in my life, to get me to like lock in. And when I say lock in, I mean truly get the most output out of my day. Because up until now, I've always had bursts of times in my life where I'm making really good progress. That was never a problem. And in fact, you can argue that I'm a pretty high level individual. Like, I've achieved a lot of amazing things, a lot of impressive things in my lifting career, in my business career, in social media and all these things. But the one thing that I struggle with the most is consistency, because we can go a month, you can go 6 months doing something really well, but then there's these lull periods where my focus just plummets and I have like a quarter of the output that I can usually do. And it's weird. It kind of sneaks up on you and then it kind of just becomes your norm. And then you look back and you're like, whoa, what just happened for the last 6 months? Okay. And I've experienced a little bit of that because, getting married, honeymoon, travel, all these things, quitting my 9 to 5, going full-time online, having all these things going all at once, causing a little bit of that extra anxiety you got to deal with. Okay. That's pretty normal. But I wanted to figure out, okay, what can I do every single day to guarantee that I have the best possible output in my life? And one of my mentors has really changed my life because I replicated what he did. It's very simple, but wake up a little bit earlier. Make sure that early hours out of my day are where I put the most amount of effort in my work, because number one, there's less distractions. There's less people bothering me. Even my clients and the people that do have access to me are sleeping. So I'm not getting bombarded with messages, right? And those 3-4 hours of work in the morning are like 5, 6, 7 hours worth of work during the day, because I have some rules that I implicate in that part of my day that guarantee success. Okay. I wake up around 4:50 to 5 a.m. Sometimes it'll be 5:20, 5:30. This is still newer to me. And just so you guys understand, this is not the first time I've done this in my life. I've done this before, but I've re-implicated it in my life and it's been so good. And I suggest you guys do as well. But I wake up at 4:55 a.m. The first thing I do is I do 50 push-ups. Okay. No re-snoozing. I'm guilty of doing it sometimes, but the idea is no re-snoozing, just getting up, doing my 50 push-ups, get the blood flow, give myself no chance to want to stay there in bed. And guess what? Doesn't matter if it's me or you or anybody else out there. Your sheets in the morning, when they're nice and warm, feel comfortable. But you have to get out of there. You have to get out there and move on with your day, okay? You have to train your mind to think this way, or else you're going to be stuck the way you are forever. You get up, you do your 50 push-ups, get the blood flow going, okay? Wash your face with cold water. Preferably get in a cold shower. I hate those, so I just wash my face with cold water. It's enough to get me going. I also just like things being fast and efficient. If I have to do a cold shower, it takes longer, okay? So I do my 50 push-ups. I wash my face with cold water, and I have 12 to 16 ounces of water, and I get on with my day. The next thing I do with my routine is I will read the Bible, I will pray, and I will journal. This thing right here has been my best friend, okay? Why? Because it helps me actualize my thoughts. It helps me actualize my goals, and it helps me like plan out the next day, the night before, and in the morning I get to review that. I get to think about how I want to attack my day again. If you don't do this, then you're just drifting through life. You're drifting through your day. I don't care how good you are at memorizing things, doing things mentally. You have to actualize it. And I would do it in my notes, but then again, it forces me to be on my phone. Now there's more distraction. That's why I love that notebook, okay? And I've been doing a version of that since 2020. In 2020, I became obsessed with reading books and listening to audiobooks that are self-help because I wanted to just level up. I wanted to get really like on top of things when it comes to how I understand things, my habits, and there's a lot of great books out there that I can recommend. But I became obsessed with all this. But the only thing that I struggle with is actually building my routine that was like really good for me. All right, I've had great routines in the past, but I didn't necessarily stick to all of them, and this one has been the best so far. But I read, I meditate, right? I pray, I look into my notebook, I may write my thoughts down, get myself going at the right pace, and then right after that, boom, this is about 15 minutes max, maybe 20. But I get going and then I get into my busy work. All right, so I do my programs, because that doesn't require me to be on my phone, social media, respond to people, and that's gonna be the first 2 to 3 hours out of the day. In that time period, you can have some caffeine if you want. I personally don't really even feel like I need the caffeine until later, and I'm fasted. I'm fasted until 11 a.m., 12 sometimes, and it's like those first 6-7 hours that I'm fasted. My brain is firing. I'm functioning to my highest ability. I don't have brain fog, and it feels like I take a big burden off my shoulder for the rest of the day, Because if I don't do that in the morning, if I wake up and now I have a bunch of messages, and before I keep going, then I redo my client responses after like an hour and a half, 2 hours, because number one, I'm okay with going on my phone. I get a lot of like the busy work done for the day, and then all my clients are being responded to. Now, later on, around 11, 11:30, 12 is when I'm going to have my meal. If I have a heavy training session that day, I will have my usual meal, which is 4 to 6 eggs, kielbasa strip, that's a piece, like, pieces of kielbasa strip in there, and orange juice or milk. And then I'll pair that with some oatmeal and honey or maple syrup. So it depends on if I want to have the extra carbs that day or not before my training session. If I have a heavier training session, I absolutely want it and need it. And then I'll go train in about an hour and a half, 2 hours from there. Okay. That's an ideal day. When I come back, I have my calls, client calls, checkup calls, new calls. Later in the day, after the gym, I may put a protein shake down and then maybe get some food in me again. If not, it's going to wait till later. And then I have 2 more big meals at the end of the day. With this routine, I'm getting about 36 to 4,100 calories in a day. I'm hitting my macro goals. I'm hitting over 200 grams of protein. I'm getting my work done. I'm dialed in. If I want to go golf later in the day, I can. If I want to spend time with my wife, I can. If I want to go on a nice day with her, I can. But this is how I have to structure my day. Or else, what the problem is? I'll wake up at 7 or 8. I will feel crappy because I feel like now I wasted part of my morning. I'll have a slower start to my day because I don't have a pre-planned day. I don't have a pre-planned routine to get me going. And in fact, I was kind of a hater at sometimes in my life because I would say, these routines are BS. And, the whole Hormozy thing is you wake up and you get to work right away. The problem with actually making that the reality is that it's a lot harder said than done. Actually waking up out of your bed in your boxers and sitting down and getting work done on your computer, it's harder to do, right? Because it's just as hard to wake up out of those comfy sheets. So this routine is stupid important for a lot of people because it's the only way they can actually get their day to start in the proper direction. It's your foundation for the day, right? If you don't have this, just like anything else, if you don't have a great foundation of technique and lifting, you're not going to progress your lifts in the same manner. If you don't have a great foundation of how you want to structure your morning, your day, it's once again the same thing. You're going to have a harder time sticking to it and seeing progress the same degree. Okay. So doing this for the past few weeks has been amazing. And I highly recommend you guys try it out. Try it out and let me know. Then, like, I've tried it out for a week. I felt like it's been working or it hasn't been working. Send me a DM. Tell me if you liked it or not. And, you know, most guys out there, they need to fix what's up here first. Most of y'all need to fix this up here first, right? Figure out why you don't have the mental capacity to get to the goals you want. Then it's physical. Why aren't you getting the physical goals you want? Why don't you look the way you want to? Why can't you have the confidence that you want, right? And then everything else kind of falls into place. Your success in life, the amount of, you know, friends and connections you can make, the amount of opportunities that you get handed your way, the amount of doors that open for you, right? Those all kind of fall into place once you fix the fundamentals. Once you get your foundation set in place, everything else flows. Okay? So just do that. Fix 2 little things in your life. Fix the way you're waking up in the morning, your priorities. Are you actively actualizing what's going on in here, or is it just all a thought? And then you start scrolling mindlessly for 30 minutes and you're like forgetting about everything else you have to do that day. Get those things done. Organize your life. Get your life in order. If you want your life to be fruitful, if you want your life to be plentiful, don't expect things to get handed your way. I promise you deserve nothing and you deserve everything at the same time. But you make that decision every single day of what life is going to give you. So I hope this helps some of y'all out. If you're interested in working one-on-one to level up every aspect of your life, your training, your mindset, your routine, literally get to the next level, book a call with me. We're going to have a call. We can talk about some of these things and see if you're somebody that, you know, I can take onto the team so we can work together. Only if you're serious, please don't fill out that call. If you're just trying to have a meditation session with me, like, I'm not going to waste my time. It costs money to work with me. So I want to work with people that truly are willing to invest in themselves, but truly see progress they can keep forever. Feel free to book a call with me down below. And if you guys are interested in any specific topic, shoot me a comment. I want to make these videos on a weekly basis. You know, showing my life, showing my training, showing my thought process, showing how I'm growing, what's getting me to get to the next level. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.